This is a quick video talking about the Woohoojin drama with JG boosting him in 2021. And I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that happened and also my opinions on it. So Woohoojin lied about his rank. He admitted to JG boosting him, and as a result, Woohoojin has been lying about his rank, as he has never, at least not provably, achieved a Radiant. And stuff like this can improve his viewership, can mark himself as Radiant, which is definitely better than marking yourself as Immortal. And he knowingly did this as well. This was not by accident. He did this throughout his time as a content creator. So the term Radiant Coach overall can technically mean that he is coaching at a Radiant level. However, to the average person, it's likely that a Radiant Coach means a coach that has achieved Radiant as a player at some point. And I think with a content brain as good as his, he probably knows that when the term Radiant Coach comes up, or when he puts Radiant in his thumbnails, or whatever, that probably means that Woohoojin is Radiant, right? That's probably how he would has achieved Radiant as a player. That's probably how he expects his audience to interpret that. And there's no reason to make a distinction of he's a Radiant coach but an Immortal player. He has no reason to do that, especially because his tracker says that he's Radiant. It'd be very stupid for him to make that distinction before this drama has come to light, right? So his coaching content is definitely good at the very least. It's definitely one of the most digestible overall as content. For the average player in Valorant. And there's a reason why he is the highest subscriber count Valorant coaching content creator. I am not a fan of some of the stuff he does with his monetization and the way that he interacts with his audience, but that's like completely disconnected from the actual drama itself, although potentially you could see it as shady if you want to. I personally think it's a bit weird. I don't think it's necessarily shady, but you can if you want to. You can look at his monetization stuff if you want to, with the Discord and that kind of stuff, and not really interacting with his like kind of circumventing Twitch chat in a way, where you have to kind of join his Discord to actually ever interact with him as being a part of his Twitch chat, which is kind of weird, at least to me. But it's kind of not important. Does it matter that he is going to get Radiant? No. Yes and no. He has already frauded his audience into thinking that he was better than he actually was. Him getting Radiant doesn't excuse that. However, if he does get Radiant, it does mean moving forward, he will no longer be frauding his audience when he says Radiant Coach. The way you can sort of think of this is, if your car breaks down and you go to a mechanic and the mechanic says that they are qualified to fix your car, and in reality they're training to be a mechanic, and even though they fixed the car, you technically got frauded by them because they were not qualified to do it. And it doesn't matter that mechanic would be trained in 2 years and be qualified as a mechanic in 2 years. When you maybe go back and say, oh, well, my car's broken down again in 2 years, it should have been fine for like 5. It doesn't actually matter, right? Because they technically frauded you because they claimed they were something that they weren't. It doesn't matter what they are now. Isn't he against boosting and account sharing? So right now he probably is. But it has been almost 3 years, right? So it's not the realm of possibility that his viewpoints have changed since then, for better or worse, really. And I think it's likely as well, as he was not a content creator when the boosting originally happened, and he's a content creator now, and one of the biggest content creators for Valorant, at least in the coaching space. It probably makes a lot of sense for him to become more aligned with the TOS over time, for Riot's TOS for Valorant, because it just makes sense, right? If you're going to be working with that company, you probably want to be aligned with them in some ways. Especially in the TOS at the very least, really. So it makes sense that he would have moved towards being against boosting and account sharing, which makes sense, right? And I'm against those things too. So the last sort of point I have, which is things I'm concerned about with this, right? And the controller-only account that he achieved Radiant on has not been shown to the audience. This, to me, signals a couple of things. Either the account goes to a different school and you don't know them, kind of deal, so the account doesn't exist. Or the account is doing something not in line with TOS, such as account sharing, or was a bought account, or he has already sold the account. Hence why maybe you can't get proof for the existence of the account, or the fact that the account has Radiant. To be fair, if he logged onto the account and he showed the account achieved Radiant, technically that wouldn't be enough, right? Because just showing a Radiant account isn't really going to be enough, right? He can show a Radiant account, it's his main account. He can show that Radiant account, and we all know that is not true, right? He's not Radiant on that account. He didn't achieve Radiant on that account. So just showing an account that has achieved Radiant won't be enough to prove that. So we already know that. But I do think that he should at least show that account. Because at this point, I think openness is the most important thing that he needs to show right now, for his audience and for his career. So I do think that he should have at least shown the name and showed the tracker or whatever, right, of that account. I think it makes so much sense to do that. I don't think it makes any sense to hold that account from anyone, even if it's an account that was that like has achieved Radiant like a long time ago or whatever, right? As long as he's got Radiant on it, I think it'd be fine for now, at least because then we can hold him accountable for that account too, at the very least. And it's a lot more open for him to do that. I'm concerned for his mental at the moment as well. The Valorant community has all their eyes on him, and that kind of pressure can be hard to deal with. I'm sure that as one of the biggest content creators, he's kind of used to it in some ways, and him dealing with it, he probably deals with it better than what I expect. But we'll have to see. And I think it's added on for me the fact that I see it illogical for his career to get Radiant with Raze when he allegedly got to Radiant with Controller. If it's true, the safer option for his career would be to replicate what he's already done. At least to me, right? I think it makes more sense that if you've already got Radiant on Controller, I don't see the point in then doing it with Raze when it's more important for your career to just get Radiant. I don't understand the point of doing it with Raze. The one thing that like changes this for me though could be that he might feel more practiced on Raze because he's only played Raze in recent time. Hence, like with the thing with like Dopeye, right, where he was doing with Dopeye, and they swapped roles basically. I think that is quite logical though. That if he's more practiced on Raze, it probably makes more sense for him if he does feel like he's good enough to get Radiant, then he would play Raze. The one thing I don't like about that though is that it might mean that second account or that account that I got Radiant, the controller only account that got Radiant, how long ago was that account? We don't know, right? And we also don't know, like, if that account was before he was a content creator, he probably still has the same, like, he might have the same values of, like, boosting is fine, or like, it's fine under these conditions, or something like that, or account sharing is fine under these conditions, right? We don't know how genuine that account is too. And I think the recency definitely calls into question. The recency of that account calls into question its, like, validity as like an actual Radiant account as well. I'm not sure if I've really explained that the best, but there you go. This isn't, also I want to say this isn't hate for Woohoojin at all. I think he is still one of the best coaching content creators. As I've already said, he has by far one of the most digestible coaching content, coaching content like setups for a coaching content creator on YouTube and on Twitch, for the general player base. Unfortunately, I think it has soured his content quite a bit, made it feel a lot less genuine. But I think overall people are going to be more skeptical of him, and especially about giving him money and that kind of stuff too. I think people are going to be a lot more skeptical of that too. I don't really like covering drama, but I felt as a coaching content creator in this kind of same space, especially as I also recommend some of my students his content, I should kind of give my opinion on this stuff, and some of the questions I've been asking myself. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.